Mr. Atherton, we have the sounds of American Le Mans Series LMP1 cars behind us. We have some Daytona prototypes. It very much so. Yeah. Fitting that we have the president of IMSA here with an authentic, a period-correct soundtrack behind us. We're celebrating 50 years of IMSA here. You have been a part of this IMSA journey through the American Le Mans Series, and now today the combination, the unified IMSA. What comes to mind when you walk into the paddock for the first time here and see the celebration at the reunion?
Well, this facility, I think all of us consider to be hallowed grounds, and the history that IMSA has made here, to have it brought to life literally with these cars that aren't just static displays, but they're out there in many cases running in anger. It just makes you feel proud to have been a small part of that. I think I've had the honor of being connected to IMSA now for the past 20 years, so 20 out of the 50. But I think all of us think back to the John Bishop and the Bill France Sr. era that got this all started back in '69, and the fact that we were able to be the custodians of that legacy here today, this weekend. It's pretty special.
You also have a very close connection with this circuit, having run it for some time. You also, I would say, Scott, bring some pretty interesting lineage, knowing that you aren't just here overseeing a racing series today, but there was once upon a time where you were trying to make these events happen.
Yeah, I had the pleasure and the honor, again, of being the track president here from '93 through '97. And that was a pretty special time for the venue. At that time, not only did it have an IMSA event, Monterey Historic Automobile Races, as they were called back then, what is today the Rolex Monterey Motorsports Reunion, but we were also the season finale for CART, the IndyCar Championship, which just about every year it was the championship deciding event. We used to pack this place. It was full. And the pressure and the satisfaction of being a promoter is a situation that it's not replicated with any other assignment. It's the hardest work I've ever been a part of, but it's also, I consider it the most rewarding.
Interesting aspect to this event, the reunion, is the participation and activation, using modern terms, with manufacturers who are engaged in IMSA today. Mazda, Lexus, BMW, Porsche, we can work on down the line. There's so many folks who are like, hey, wait a minute, I thought this was a weekend off. No, I'm here working at the reunion. Yeah. Share with us that aspect of this, because I'd say you would probably take pride in the fact that the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship is also heavily embedded here at the reunion.
It's remarkable how many people, I just ran into the Team Penske guys, and it's like, well, what are you doing here? And it's become one of those must-attend weekends. It's not unlike the Detroit Auto Show or Goodwood in the UK. I think this week as a whole, because it's now become the Monterey Car Week, if you're involved in the industry, whether it be from the motorsport side or simply the automotive OEM side of the equation, you're here. You mentioned the manufacturers that are involved with our championship today, and many of whom have partnered with us to make our display here that celebrates the 50 years of IMSA possible. And it's because they too have a rich history that goes back many decades in many examples. And for us to be working together to showcase not only the modern day examples, but also what came before that, it's rewarding for us as a sanctioning body, and I hope that the fans take away a similar level of satisfaction of just seeing these manufacturers and IMSA putting forth this kind of content as we have this weekend.
Let's close on this, Scott. So we come back in a month. So we have vintage races this weekend. We have proper races a month from now.
Yeah.
So we not only have Car Week this week, we come back for what they're calling Race Week, where we actually have two major North American championships, one weekend to the next. Share with folks who maybe think of this reunion as one of the highlights of the year at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Well, Don't want to argue that, but for those of us who live and breathe modern competition, September, tell us about what's coming in a month.
Well, in the weekend of September 13 through 15, the WeatherTech Championship comes to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It's the, if I get the word correct, the penultimate round.
Someone's been speaking with British people.
Yeah,
there
you go. It's the second to last race of the WeatherTech Championship. And if you've been following what's going on, we have some incredibly tight championship battles developing. It's also, I don't want to scare away anybody from buying a ticket because it's going to be a spectacular weekend of racing, followed the next weekend by going back to once it was the IndyCar finale here as well. So a back-to-back weekend combination there. But it will also be live flag to flag on NBC for us with the WeatherTech Championship. So yeah, you're right. This weekend is fun, but we get after it in a very serious, very high profile, very professional way here basically a month from now.
And the last thing I'll add to that, most IMSA fans know that Petit Le Mans season finale, 10 hours, from day till night. All that's beautiful. Please go and attend. We're not shying you away from that. What this event, since it's moved to late in the calendar, has become, though, is critical. Because if you do not come home with the points you need to stay in the championship here in Monterey, the trip to Road Atlanta is just kind of for fun. So as we saw this last year, man, there's some knocking and banging and hardcore racing going on. Maybe let's just finish on that, Scott, how yes, it's a race, we want to see you, but boy, there's some real serious things at stake.
The tension, I don't want to sound cliche here, but I think you can feel it. The amount of interaction we've had with manufacturers and teams coming out of our most recent full round, as it relates to BOP, as it relates to just every detail of what is about to play out over these next two races. Where VIR is next up for us, a GT only weekend. We're back here in September with the full complement of classes. And then, as you mentioned, Motul Petit Le Mans season finale. It's at the new Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, which will also coincide with the ribbon-cutting grand opening of the new Michelin Tower. And if there was ever a game-changing development at a racetrack, this is it. So there's a lot of reasons to be following what's happening, to be buying tickets, and if that's not an option for you, to be tuned in to NBC, because it's going to be a heck of a finish.
The saunas and hot tubs, the massage tables in the new Michelin Press Center there, I can't wait.
Well, yeah, the Marshall Pruitt wing of the media center.
Here we go.
I just saw the latest.
It's been widened, correct? It's wide access. Okay, good. I like that. Good attention to detail.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
All right, Scott Atherton, thank you as always for spending some time.
Thanks, Marshall. It's always a pleasure.